and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be setting up my reading journal for the month of June in the year 2021. So this is the kit that I'm using. This is a printable kit that I got as part of Planning with Kay's Patreon. And as you can see, I have her basic 3-page kit printed as well as an extra sheet of the decorations page, plus a quote page printable and a 1-page calendar printable. So those are the stickers that I'm going to work with, and as you saw from that whole flip through situation, this is a sunflowers theme, which I was super excited for because my past 2 themes have been basically the exact same color palette, and I was really ready to mix things up, and the bright yellows in this sunflower theme seemed like it was going to be just super refreshing and very fun, especially since June is the first month of summer break and all of that kind of stuff. So the first thing I'm working on is a quote page, and I like to pick quotes from books for my reading journal. So this is a quote that was said, I believe, by Matthew Fairchild in Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, maybe Chain of Gold, but I think it's Chain of Iron. Anyway, it says that I believe that decadence is a valuable perspective that should always be considered. And I'm not 100% certain exactly what he meant by that, but I loved the length of this quote, so I wanted something lengthier than I usually do. And I also liked the idea of lettering the word decadence. I don't know, I had really a lot of fun lettering it right there, making it stretch across the whole page. So I'm not 100% convinced that it really matches anything or even means much. I can't remember the context with which he said this, but the point is it was fun to letter, and that's really all I was going for. So I had sketched it in beforehand, and it was just a matter of going in with my black Tombow Fudanyusuki pen to finish up the lettering and edit some of the spacing and stuff and get it all settled. Then over on the right hand side, I'm starting with my cover page. So here I've put down one of the large banner stickers that comes in the kit, and I did sketch in where I wanted my banners to go ahead of time. So I just put that there where I had laid that out, and now I'm going to letter in the title. And I've been experimenting with my titles and script fonts a lot because I feel like I do a ton of brush letter styling, and I wanted to try something different this month. So I did this large bold June header, and I really wanted something bold because June is a month that has very few letters, so it's just 4 letters, and I thought that if I was going to go with a bold font, June is a month that would work really well for, because there aren't so many letters that it might be overpowering to the spread. I don't know, that's why I decided to try this. So I just wrote in June, and then I bolded the lines and kind of rounded out the edges to make this almost thin bubble letter kind of font. And I made sure that it half overlapped the sticker and then also carried up into just the white part of the page in order to get a bit of, dimension, the letters are sitting on top of this flower bed. And I really like how that came out. So that's what I'm doing here. And then the pages were kind of starting to poof up a little, so I do have these 2 little paper clips in the corners to hold them down. And something I experimented, I think, with this layout in particular was not moving my journal. Usually I tilt it a lot. I'm trying not to do that. And now that I'm editing this video, we're really going to see how successful I was. But basically I decided to try that out because it felt like when I watch other bullet journal channels, the channels that I like the most, they don't move their journal around. Part of what makes the video aesthetically pleasing is that the journal is always centered. So I did my best in this one not to move it. We'll see how that goes as this video progresses. But anyway, I'm adding more decoration to the quote page, and I felt like there wasn't enough color on it if I just put that large floral sticker down at the bottom. So I have this yellow piece of origami paper that I ripped up to glue in with just a Tombow permanent adhesive tape roller thing. And I love using origami paper in my journal for layering because it's very thin, right? Origami paper is thin, it's meant to be folded, but It comes in all kinds of patterns and colors, and I have a pack of like several rainbow colors that I like to break out in my journal every now and again because it lets me add layered colored elements without adding too much bulk. Like if I had used sticker paper or construction paper or cardstock or something like that, not nearly as thick. So I really love that, and I put that at the top and the bottom. And now I'm just adding some embellishments, little flowers, a couple of bees here and there. And I really love this spread. I really love the inclusion of the yellow. I feel like it adds like a refreshing pop of bright color. So this was super fun to set up, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. With my cover and quote page all finished, I am now moving on to my TBR spread and my monthly layout. So my TBR is going to be over on the left hand page, and I'm using one of the banner stickers to put up along the top. I really love the brick motif that Planning with Kate added to this particular sticker theme. I feel like the bricks are, I don't know, they're really pretty with this combination of red and yellow and orange. It just feels so summery, and I am so ready for summer. That was the sound of me accidentally hitting my mic, which I could edit out, but I didn't want to. So there we go. That's what that little thunk was. Anyway, so I am using some stamps that I got from Michael's. They are pretty simple, like rubber and wood stamps, and I got them in a set of lowercase and uppercase letters. And then I also have this black ink pad that I used to just add the letters TBR up at the top. One of the things I did not know is that on these stamps in particular, the letters on the rubber part is not necessarily centered on the wood. So what happened with that T right there is that I centered the wood block, but the actual like letter rubber part of the stamp was off center and was a little low, so the T is much lower than I would like, but it's okay, it's close enough. At the bottom I added some washi tape and some sunflowers, and then I thought that a fun thing to add would be this craft paper, because I thought that it would go really well with like the brick colors, as well as these boxes from a Happy Planner Colorful Boxes sticker book. I don't use the gold ones a lot. I find that the gold, like foiling, is something I like as an accent on top of other stickers, but for my boxes to have just an entire gold border is kind of a lot to me, so I don't use the gold boxes very often. But I thought that the gold sunshininess would match this theme very well, so I layered them on the craft paper to make a craft paper border, again to kind of make that gold just a bit more subtle. And then I cut them out, and now I am arranging them here and then just taping them down with my glue tape roller thingy. And I really love this page. This page it's probably my favorite of this whole setup. That, or maybe the cover page. I don't know. I really had a good time with this theme, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm kind of biased. I love every page. but I'm going to get those glued down, and then on the right hand page I'm just going to put down my full calendar printable that I use for things like keeping track of readathons and when I finish a book. Next up is my reading log spread. So I use this 2-page spread to keep track of my pages read. I will keep track for each day the book that I read, the page number that I started on, the page number that I finished on, and then just the total pages read for that book on that day. And it's this big chart that takes up basically the whole 2 pages, so there's not usually a ton of room for decoration. But something I thought would be interesting to try this month was more layering, because I wanted to bring in more of the yellow origami paper and that craft paper. I have used it a little bit, but was not sure when else I would be able to use it, and I really liked it. So I decided to add some to this page as a way to add more decoration and bring in more of those elements. And I think it came out well. So here I'm just going to count out my dots. I leave 2 lines per day because the books that I read per day, I usually read a couple. There's always the book that I'm reading just by myself, usually something like a YA fantasy book, and then there's the book that I'm reading with my boyfriend, which is usually adult fantasy. Right now it is The Wheel of Time, and then we're moving into, I never remember, I think we're going to read Brandon Sanderson's Second Era Mistborn trilogy, or the next series he's got out. I don't know exactly what it's called. I always forget. Anyway, so I'm layering that down, and I counted out and kind of mapped out all of my boxes, and now I'm just going to put the paper down and add some decoration and draw everything in. This is a super simple spread, but it's one of my most functional, I think. It's the kind of data that I like collecting the most about my day-to-day reading habits. I don't know. It's fun. Alright, and I fast forwarded a bit, or faded out and faded back in a bit, because this chart took me decades to draw and it's just a lot of lines. So my next spread is going to be my days read spread, and for this I thought it would be fun to make it a sunflower shaped tracker. Now this is probably, if my last spread was my most functional, this is probably my least functional because it's kind of redundant. So my previous spread kind of more or less keeps track of this as well, but I find this spread to be fun to color in. So that's why I keep making it. And basically, I've got a total of 32 like leaves, petals around this sunflower that I've already sketched in. Each one's going to be a day, and then there are just a couple of extra. And then I'm going to have a color code of 3 colors, orange, yellow, and then like this orangish yellow in the middle, that are going to represent whether I've read that day, either just the book that I'm reading by myself, if I've read that day and it's just the book that I'm reading with my boyfriend, or if I got both kinds of books that day. Which, like I said, that's about the scope of my reading. I don't read more than 1 book at a time, usually, in each category of like reading. So that's what I like to keep track of here. And then I'm going to add some green leaves down in the lower right hand corner. And this is very fun to draw out, and I like how it looked. I'm excited to see what it looks like all colored in. On the right hand page, I'm going to put my best book spread, and that is super simple. Basically, it's just the title and then lots of space so that at the end of the month I can print out a large cover of the book that I thought was the best one I read that month, and then just pasted it in. And it's like super simple, very straightforward. Alright, so next come my weekly spreads, and honestly, I'm not loving how they came out, and I think I flipped through them towards the end, and they're super simple. So rather than take you through the whole step-by-step process of how I set up these weekly spreads, I'm kind of going to just fly past this and jump straight to the wrap-up spread, which I actually quite love. So my wrap-up spread is a fun page. This is where I have been using her vertical stickers for the past couple of kits. So this one has a yellow brick background with some long, tall sunflowers, and then a cat. That cat is modeled off of the artist's cat in real life. She's super cute. I recently have taken in a cat, and she's also super cute, but she's not a black cat. Either way, cats are cool, so I was liking this sticker. And then up at the top, I am cutting some craft paper so that I can write the header in the header wrap-up. I was going to use a banner sticker from the kit, but didn't really like how it looked up there. It was going to be like in an awkward space. So I used this craft paper instead. And my wrap-up page is where I do 2 things. I make a chart for the book spread for that particular month. So I write the book title, when I started and finished the book, and then my rating for the book out of 5 stars. And then I also keep track at the bottom half of the spread of my pages read. So you saw my reading log in an earlier spread setup, and the pages read is where I kind of condense and summarize that information. And I typically make a line graph to keep track of my reading across the month. So I will put across the x-axis the day of the month, and then over on the y-axis I will write a scale for pages read, and then I'll just put a dot for wherever the number of pages I've read for that day is, and then connect them all at the end of the month, and it becomes this pretty cool zigzaggy shape to kind of give me a sense of the shape and flow of my reading for a month. And so it's been a fun spread to make. I enjoy it, and it I don't know, it just looks cool at the end. So that's what this spread is going to wind up being. And then on the right hand page, that is where I'm going to put the large quote sticker that I showed at the very beginning of this video. It was one of the printables from Planning with Kay's Patreon, And it says, all the flowers of all the tomorrows are in the seeds of today. And I really love the big bold sunflower right in the middle. And it's a really fun quote page to kind of wrap everything together before I leave space for things like my May Fairy Loot and my April Book of the Month and my reading spreads and all of that stuff. So that's what these last 2 pages are going to end up looking like. And here it is, my final flip through of my June reading journal setup. So we've got my cover page, which I love. We have my TBR and monthly view, followed by my reading log. And then after the reading log, we've got my days read spread and best book spread. And then after that, we have my weeklies. So they're super simple horizontal weeklies, a week per page. And then at the very end, my wrap up and that quote page. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.